Today I'm going to run you how to turn must form verbs into te form. There's two groups, ichidan verbs and there's godan verbs. Let's start with the ichidan verbs because they are the easiest. So how do you tell if you have an ichidan verb? Here are some examples of ichidan verbs. Okay, so we have demas, nemas, shimas, and kimas, and tabemas. These are all examples of ichidan verbs. How can you tell it's an ichidan verb? Well, if you have a look at the verb stem, which is the part you get after dropping the mas, you have either one character or you have a character that ends in something from the e line. So in this case, tabemas is he with tenten, which means it ends with something from the e line. These ones are really easy to turn into te form. All you do is this. You drop the mas and add te. So then you'll end up with dete, nete, shte, kite, tabete. And that's how you make the te form for an ichidan verb. Godan verbs are a little bit trickier. There's three groups. We need to go again and look at the final character before the verb stem to figure out which group it belongs to. This is the first group. This is the I, chi, ri group. The last character in these verbs is I, chi, or ri. With Godan verbs, the last character of the verb stem always comes from the I line on the hiragana chart. So the rule in this case is really straightforward. Drop the I line character, replace with a small tsu, and then te. So kaimasu becomes kate, tachimasu becomes tate, and hairimasu becomes haite. The next group of Godan verbs have ki and gi as the last character in the verb stem. So in this case, we replace the I line character with ite or ide. If in this case here we have a tenten, so we need to preserve it. So the third group has mi or bi before the verb stem, and this one is really easy again. We simply replace the I line character with unde. So yomimas becomes yonde, and asobimas becomes asonde. So this is the basic rules. It does not matter whether or not you know the verb or understand the verb, you should be able to apply the rule. Determine whether or not it's an ichidan verb or a godan verb. If it's an ichidan verb, apply the ichidan rule. If it's a godan verb, apply the appropriate godan rule. The most important thing to remember is that, unlike in English, there are one or two exceptions that are genuine exceptions to the rules. The rules will apply in 99% of the times that you will have to use them. So these are some of the most common exceptions. Ikimasu to go, dekimasu able to do, okimasu to wake, and abimasu to shower. These ones are exceptions because if you were to apply the rules, you'd actually end up with what's in green, and all of that is wrong. If it seems like it's a lot to remember, it's not really. The rules are really consistent. Probably the easiest way for you to remember these rules is to utilize a technique that's used by a lot of people. And that technique is you grab one really solid example, really common example for each rule, and you memorize that example along with the rule. And that example serves as your reference or template for the rule. So for example, if I work my way down the hiragana chart, kaimasu to buy, kakimasu to write, hanashimasu to speak, tachimasu to stand, asobimasu to hang out or play, nomimasu to drink, and hairimasu to enter, all of these are really common verbs that you will use in day-to-day Japanese. So all I need to do is remember the te form for each one of these, remember the must form, and then that will give me a template that I can use to apply to the things that I don't know. Now, anytime I encounter a verb I don't know, that I'm not sure which rule to apply for, or I want to remember the rule for, I can just look at what it has in common with my baseline. So for example, the verb to fly, tobimasu. Well, it's similar to asobimasu because they both have bi at the end of the verb stem. So I just apply the same rule. Asobimasu becomes asonde, So tobimas will become tonde. Kaerimas is similar to hairimas because both of them have ri before the mas. So hairimas becomes haite. So kaerimas will become kaete. Kikimas becomes kiite. And so on. And you basically use it as a pattern. Now this does require you to memorize a couple of verbs, but these are common, useful verbs that you'll use in your everyday Japanese anyway, and it'll give you some base vocabulary to work from. I hope you found this video useful.